I used to work the night shift at a small rural gas station off Highway 47. It wasn't a dangerous place, just quiet. Too quiet sometimes. You'd get the usual drunk guy, the occasional trucker, but most nights were dead. This happened in January of last year. It was around 2:13 a.m. I remember because the clock above the lottery machine had this annoying buzz that got louder at night. I was stocking the cooler when I heard the bell above the door. But here's the thing. The bell didn't ring like normal. Usually it's this sharp ding. But this time it was slow, almost dragged out, a long metallic creaking. When I walked out from the back, the store looked empty. No one at the counter, no footsteps, no movement. Just the soft hum of the fluorescent lights and the feeling that someone was watching me. I checked the parking lot, no cars, the security monitor, no one. I shrugged it off, night shift paranoia. But then, while I was turning back toward the counter, something caught my eye. A man standing in aisle 3, completely still, facing the corner, like a little kid being punished. He was tall, wearing a dirty gray hoodie, hood up. His hands were dangling at his sides, fingers twitching slightly like he was tapping on his own legs. I hadn't seen him walk in. I hadn't heard him move. He was just there. I cleared my throat. "Hey, you all right?" He didn't answer, didn't move, just that weird finger tapping. I stepped closer, slowly. "Sir, do you need help?" The man turned his head, just a little. Not enough to see his face, but enough for me to hear this low, broken whisper, "Don't look at them." I froze. "What?" He didn't reply. He just tilted his head a bit more, his voice cracking like he hadn't spoken in years. "Don't look at them in the cooler." My stomach dropped, because I had just been in the cooler. I looked toward the glass doors, and behind the rows of bottled water, I saw it. A shape. Something crouched between the shelves. Long, thin fingers pressed to the glass from the inside. And then, another hand, and another. 4, 5, maybe 6 sets of fingers, all sliding downward, leaving streaks in the cold condensation. The man in aisle 3 whispered, "They come out when it's cold." The lights flickered. The buzzing got louder. And behind the glass, those pale shapes began to spread, pulling forward like they were trying to push through. I backed away, whispering, "Sir, we need to go. Now." But the man shook his head. They already saw you." Something in the cooler hit the door from inside. Hard. The shelves rattled. Bottles fell. I ran. I bolted out the front door, across the lot, all the way to the opposite side of the road. The man didn't follow. He just stood at the doorway, watching me, watching the cooler. And then the lights inside the store went completely dark. When the police came, the man was gone. The cooler door was cracked in half, and the security footage for that night was corrupted. I quit the next morning. But sometimes, when I pass that old gas station, I swear I still see handprints inside the cooler window. I lived next door to a woman named Marla for about 3 years. She was quiet, polite, mid-60s, always tending her garden. We weren't close, but we'd wave when we saw each other. One evening, she knocked on my door, looking shaken. Her hands were trembling, her face pale. She said, "Can you help me? I just need you to hold the basement door while I check something." I thought it was a weird request, but she looked terrified. So I followed her next door. Her house was spotless, except for the basement. The door was this old wooden thing with a rusted lock that looked way too heavy for such a fragile frame. The wood had deep gouges in it, like someone had taken a knife to it. Marla handed me an old brass key. "I just need you to hold it closed if it pushes. Please, it won't be long." I laughed nervously. "What do you mean if it pushes?" She didn't answer. She unlocked the door, and immediately, something on the other side pushed back, hard. The door jolted forward into my hands, not like air pressure, not like settling wood. Something alive. "What the hell was that?" I shouted. Marla whispered, "Just hold it, please." She slipped inside and shut it behind her. The lock didn't click, just darkness. My heart raced as the door kept pressing outward. Something was breathing on the other side, slow, deep, animalistic. I yelled, "Marla, are you okay?" But the breathing got louder, heavier, almost excited. Then the door stopped pushing, completely. Silence. I waited. 1 minute, 2, 5. Nothing. I knocked. "Marla?" No response. I pushed the door open slowly and peered down the stairs. Pitch black. The air smelled wrong, like iron and rot. I called out again. No answer. Just as I was about to go down a step, something moved at the bottom. A tall, thin shape. Not Marla. It started climbing the stairs in jerky, unnatural motions. Its arms were too long. Its neck twisted sideways like it was listening for something. I slammed the door, locked it, ran home. The next morning, the cops were at Marla's house. Her front door wide open, lights on. But she was gone. They asked me if I'd seen her. I lied. I didn't tell them anything. A week later, a for sale sign went up. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear knocking from her basement window facing my yard. Soft, rhythmic, like someone patiently waiting to be let out. My daughter Lily was only 7 months old when this happened. My wife works overnight shifts, so most nights it's just me and the baby. We had a standard monitor with night vision, nothing fancy. But around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of Lily laughing. Not baby giggling, but full-on hysterical laughter. I checked the monitor. At first, everything looked normal. She was sitting in her crib, bouncing slightly, facing the corner. But then I noticed something off. The night vision light was flickering, and Lily wasn't laughing at nothing. Her eyes were focused, locked onto the far corner of the room. I whispered into the monitor, "Lily? Sweetie?" She didn't react. She just kept staring. And then she spoke a word she had never said before. "Hi," a man's voice answered. "Hi, Lily." My blood went ice cold. A deep, adult male voice coming through the monitor from inside her room. I jumped out of bed, heart pounding, nearly ripping the door off the hinges. But when I reached the room, she was alone, sitting quietly. No laughter, no man. I checked the closet, the hallway, the window. Nothing. I eventually calmed down enough to check the monitor footage. It records automatically. But the moment she started laughing, the recording cut out. Just static. That night, I unplugged the monitor and brought Lily into my room. I wish the story ended there. But 2 nights later, I woke up to whispering. Not through the monitor, through Lily's baby blanket. I unfolded it. And inside, hidden between the layers of fabric, was a tiny speaker. Not part of the original monitor. A device someone had slipped into her blanket that could play audio remotely. When the police came, they found small scratches around Lily's window frame, like someone had tried to open it from outside, multiple times. We moved out a week later, but I still wonder, When Lily laughed that night, was she laughing at the voice or at the person who was already standing in her room? This happened during a power outage last winter. Around 11:40 p.m., everything went dark. Street lights, houses, even the traffic light down the block. I was sitting by the window, lighting a candle, when my doorbell rang, which was strange, because the power was out. I checked the peephole, a neighbor maybe, someone who needed help, but no one was standing there, just darkness. I opened the door a crack and called out, "Hello?" Silence. But the moment I shut the doorbell rang again, longer this time, holding the tone, impossible without power. I looked through the peephole again. This time, someone was there. At first, it looked like a woman, long hair, head slightly tilted, but her face was too close to the door, pressed against it, like she was breathing on the peephole. I whispered, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Her head twitched violently, like she was trying to crack her neck but couldn't. Then she whispered, "Let me in. It's so cold out here." Her voice sounded wrong, layered, like two people speaking at once. I backed away from the door. The doorbell rang again and again and again. Rapid, impossible clicks. Then, bang, a heavy hit against the door, and another, and another. She wasn't knocking. She was slamming her whole body into it. The wood started to splinter. I called 911, but before they answered, everything went silent. No banging, no doorbell, no voice, just quiet. The police arrived less than 10 minutes later. They checked my porch, my yard, everything. They found footprints, but the pattern didn't make sense. The steps were spaced too far apart, like whoever made them had legs twice as long as a normal person. And the last footprint, it wasn't facing away. It was pressed directly beneath my window, facing inward. The glass had a faint smudge of what looked like a face, right where someone would have been watching me from outside. The power came back on around 3 a.m. But since then, sometimes my doorbell rings in the middle of the night. Just once. A long, slow buzz. And every time it happens, the peephole fogs over, like someone is standing too close and breathing. If you're still awake, thank you for listening. Remember, the next time you hear something outside your door, a laugh on your baby monitor, a knock from a neighbor's basement, or something moving where no one should be, don't ignore it. Because some stories start exactly that way. Good night. Sleep if you can.